Today is a very exciting day. I get first dibs at an estate sale. I mean, how cool is that? So I'm trying to go real open-minded and I'm not expecting much. If I get good stuff, I'm definitely going to show you guys what I got. Hello, I'm Christina with The Turned Leg. And normally about this time for videos, I am doing a thrift haul with you, but today we're going to do something a little bit different. Recently, I was invited to 2 different estate sales, all pretty much because of this channel. Thank you to those of you who reached out to me. And I got some seriously good stuff. So I really don't need to go thrifting for my booth right now because I got a lot of good items. I'm going to show you quite a few of them, so stay tuned for that. But I also thought I would take advantage and talk to you about what I am buying and what I'm looking for. If you come across a whole bunch of stuff, like how do you choose what is good, what will sell? And I'm going to share with you at least my whole thought process. Both of these sales were absolutely amazing. One was an estate sale that was open to the public. The other was a private sale that I got to go to first. So I kind of got first dibs. And like I said, I got a whole bunch of good stuff. Whether you just like to see what people pick up, what they're searching for, what cool things I find, or if you're also a booth owner and you want to see what I'm buying, I think you're going to enjoy this. I should also set the stage and tell you that both had a ton of items. Both were very overwhelming. And walking into both of them, I didn't have unlimited time or unlimited money. And I really had to think about what would be smart for me to get right now for my booth and what is going to sell and what gaps do I need to fill in. There are a lot of things that I shared in another video right now that are selling well for me. But quite a few of those things I already have stockpiled. I actually already had, at the time, a lot of furniture because furniture had been selling well, so I'd been on the hunt and I already had a garage full of projects waiting for me. I wasn't really looking for furniture, even though furniture is selling well for me. In past videos, too, you've asked me, as I go through or talk about items, to post pictures. I'm going to do that here, but I'm also going to, at the end, show you a whole bunch of the items, so stay tuned for that too. As a booth owner, it is so important to know your numbers, to know what is selling in your booth right now, because it changes all the time. What sold last month might not be selling now. Staying current and checking what you're selling each day and making note of those items so you know what to restock is a really good idea. Another thing I mentioned here, quite frankly, is how much should you be buying? A good rule of thumb to follow with inventory as a reseller is whatever you are selling each month, you should probably be buying to restock. Now, I kind of broke my rule on these because both of these sales were really good and they had vintage items that you just don't see. So every once in a while, I think you can go, well, I'm not going to find this again and stock up just a little bit. But I tried not to go crazy. I also really thought about what was already overstocked at my antique mall. I wanted my items to be unique. As a booth owner, if you're not already doing it, make sure you're walking around your antique mall occasionally and checking out what everybody else is offering, because it's always a good idea to have a few unique items that you are the only dealer selling. One thing I, of course, am always on the hunt for, and something that I did pick up at both of these sales too, is vintage Christmas. It's getting harder and harder to find, and I am always on the hunt as long as the price is right. That is something that I am definitely going to pick up. And although it was seasonal, I did come right home and price those items and then put them away in my seasonal pile. It was funny, as I began hunting at one of the sales, I remember thinking, what should I get? What should I get? Because we're talking serious overwhelm at both of these sales. So many good things. And immediately the thing that popped into my head was blue glass. It seems that blue glass just sells well. It really doesn't matter if it's like fancy, if it's Fenton, if it's like a cobalt, it doesn't matter, but blue always seems to sell well, or at least has been selling well recently. So that was one thing that I went through immediately and was looking for. I'm curious, is blue glass hot for you too? I'm also seeing colored glass very hot. And so that's something else that I was looking for as I was going through both of the sales. Another item that I am buying right now is brass. Anything brass has been hot. I mean, obviously candlesticks always seem to be hot, but brass has really been one to look for. And at these sales, I got a wide variety of brass items. I even got a brass unicorn. Another thing to think about when you are getting things at estate sales or garage sales is if you're getting metal items, less likelihood of them going to break. They're a lot easier to package up, to bring back, to package up again, to take to your booth and price. And that's something to consider. That was one other thing that I really had to think about at both of the sales, is all of the items that I'm taking. I mean, it's fun. You go to a sale, you look around, you see all these great things. That is the high, but then remember, you have to package and transport and then clean these items and research the items and process the items and get them back to your booth. What are the chances of them breaking? And also, how heavy are they is something really important to consider. There were items at both sales that I passed on, even though the prices were good, just because they were really large or extremely fragile or really, really heavy. One thing I have been on the hunt for every time I see it is pretty much anything mid-century modern. It is still really hot and popular in my area. Some of the things I'm always looking for are entertaining items, cheese boards or serving dishes or barware of any sort. Those are very, very hot. Also looking for art and home decor items. I think a lot of the shoppers now, especially some of our younger shoppers, are really into that kind of a look and they're really enjoying the colors. And as mentioned with mid-century, I am always on the hunt for small pictures and small mirrors, and I'm not too picky. Good subject matter is always some sort of a landscape, or if we have some sort of a cityscape. Also, pictures that have to do with nature. Small pictures, I can put them anywhere in my booth. Kind of going along the same lines with mirrors or anything kind of Hollywood glam or glamorous, or as I always call, like pretty lady looking items. Things that are gold, that are feminine. I'm also seeing a trend for people buying gold mirrors and even some more unique pieces. A while back, I got like a hairspray cover at a thrift store that was gold and all blinged out. That has sold. I have a Kleenex box container or cover that was the same kind of style. That has sold. Gold wall candlesticks, a big gold fan. All of these things have sold. So if it's a little over the top gold and glam, I'm probably going to pick it up. Another thing I am buying is anything that is kitschy and cute, especially for the kitchen, like 1950s, 60s vibes. One of the pieces I just got from the sale was this cute little cheese container. This is what I'm talking about. Anything that just gives the aw kind of a look. Those things are popular. Along the same lines, anything that has to do with dogs and cats are usually really good sellers. For me, dogs seem to rule. I'm curious for those resellers who are watching if dogs or cats are more popular or if they're equally tied. Dogs seem to do better, so I definitely did pick up a few dogs at both sales. One of the dogs that I purchased has already sold. Another thing I'm always in the hunt for are pottery pieces. I really enjoy like mid-century pottery pieces or Italian pottery pieces that have been painted. One thing I have learned being a reseller though, even if I'm at an estate sale or a flea market or anywhere buying items, is sometimes you just need to trust your gut. Not always, but it does seem to work a lot of the time. So a lot of the things I did pick up, when I got them home, I was kind of surprised to find out more about them and find out like, oh, hey, I did pretty good. So if you're new or if you've been in the business a while, I hope that's one of the things you're doing is just kind of going with your gut. There's not always time to look up your items when you are on the hunt. Sometimes you just need to buy it when you see it so you don't miss out. Another thing I was really on the hunt for were unique items. Things I had never seen in person, and I got seriously lucky. I saw some things at both of the sales that I have only seen from other dealers on Instagram or on Pinterest boards. And so I was really excited to come across those items. Little pill boxes, I got little perfume containers, lipstick holders, and these were antiques that I don't see very often. Another thing I found were holders for sewing kits or needle holders that were like new old stock. I mean, they looked like something you would have bought at the store a really long time ago. They weren't just like advertisement needle holders, which I've seen before. These were kitschy and cool, and I absolutely had to pick these up. I also found a collection of antique doll heads minus the bodies. Now, I know that sounds a little bit strange, but they're really unique. And as a big fan of Frozen Charlottes, I just could not pass these up. Some people just like them for the look. Some people will go for the creepiness factor. Some people might even want to make them into dolls again. But this is something I don't see very often. And I liked how original and unique each one was. One of the things I picked up at both of the sales were boxes, whether they're metal, whether they're wood, whether they're tool boxes, any boxes, metal or wood. I love to pick up. Are they good sellers? Well, they sell pretty steadily, but they can be kind of slow. So not huge seller, but as for staging items, you can open them up, you can put stuff in them, it'll give you height in your displays, and I just think boxes are really cool. So for me, that's something I'm going to pick up. It's going to help me with the staging, and they will eventually sell. Another thing I always pick up are books. Of course, no kid books. I kind of keep away from kid items, although I did break that rule a little bit on these sales because I found some items I just hadn't seen before, and I really wanted to stage with them, like decorate my booth with them. So I'll show you what I did pick up. But other than that, I stayed true to my no kid items. Books are huge sellers for me. So anytime I can find vintage books in good condition, I am going to pick those up. Another thing I was on the hunt for were items that I call fillers, like things that you could put inside containers, inside boxes, just to kind of stage my booth and fill things out. I picked up some antique scissors. Some of them are more like metal shears, and some of them are more scissors. Some of them are for cutting hair, some are for cutting paper or cutting fabric. I also picked up an assortment of tape measures with cloth tape measures inside. There's a whole bunch of different sizes, and I just thought those would be fun too, to put in something to stage them in my booth. Even those needles that were in the pretty packaging are another great bowl filler. I also got a whole bunch of mismatched silverware, silver plated and real silver. That's another thing that I can put into bowls or containers, and a lot of people are picking those up for projects. Another thing I will not pass up if it's a good price are items related to my area. I live in Michigan, so if I'm seeing things that have Michigan or have Detroit on them, anytime I see something that has to do with Michigan or a local city, I'm always gonna pick those things up. And although the very first sale I went to did have a ton of furniture items, as I mentioned, I really was not looking for much furniture because I had already kind of stockpiled. And I try to do inventory before I go to like big hauls like these that I was invited to. Like, what do I really need? I try not to buy too much unless it's something really good. I did pick up a piece of furniture because it had a marble top. I usually do not find pieces that have marble tops in my price point. I did put it into my booth and it has already sold. I also picked up an elegant parlor chair. It was very tiny and very well built. I picked this one up because it's a great chair that I can also use to stack in my displays. And it's a pretty chair. You could use it as an anywhere chair in any room. One of the things I am doing in my booth is trying to elevate the furniture that I'm offering my customers. Yes, I'm still looking for curbside treasures. I'm still finding things and trying to save them. That is part of my passion. One member of my junk army found an amazing step back hutch that was out for the trash in my area and contacted me. And although I pretty much had to gather an army of people to help me, it took 3 people just to lift it. We got it home and I have saved it. It is going to be heading to my booth soon. But that's what I mean about elevating what I'm finding. I'm not just picking up every rogue end table anymore. I'm trying to be a little bit more selective, trying to make sure it's vintage, it's unique, it's well built, and that I can save the piece. I probably could have taken a lot more items than I did. And I just want to shout out a word of caution to all of you. It is so important that you don't buy more than you can handle as a dealer. I mean, you really have to think as a dealer what is going to be manageable for you. The other thing to consider is once you pick it, which of course, as we mentioned, is the fun part, and you bring it all home and you get the happy picture and you're driving in your van with all the stuff behind you, then really the work begins when you get home, because that's when you have to do the processing, which some of you have chimed in here on the channel that processing is one of your least favorite things. I have to say, I enjoy it, especially with the items that like I didn't look up at the time. I kind of like to see like, well, is it something? Is it not something? Did I do okay? Or I also like to challenge myself. If I have no idea of price, I'll think of a price in my head and I'll do some research online. Of course, we've talked about many times here how like Google Lens prices are not always tried and true, and there's other ways to determine prices. But I like to see if I'm kind of in the right area or the range of prices or not. I think as an antique dealer, you know, you're not an expert in all things, and there's always so much more you can learn. I really enjoy the learning part of the processing because I'm learning about, well, what is this? How was it made? Who is the artist? What's the difference between a lithograph and a print, or all of the things. So I find it really fascinating. Maybe that's my teacher background. I don't know, but I think it just kind of goes back to how much I love saving vintage things. And I think knowing the history and the story behind them is extremely important. Because I got so many small items, tchotchkes and smaller things, one of the problems I was having in my booth is where to put them all. I do not have a ton of shelving, so that was a really big question. And what I decided to do is, of course, build a new display to get kind of scrappy. I actually found curbside a whole bunch of pine boards in the trash. They were 6 foot, there were 4 of them, and I decided I am going to build some more shelving. I have built the shelving in 2 other areas of my antique booth, and it has been so successful. In fact, I'll put a link to one of the videos so you can see how I did it before. Let's take a look at what I built and where all of the smalls went. Now, this was the area that I was really using for kind of a mid-century colorful vibe. And because the wall was black, I thought it would be perfect for making things pop. And I was so pleased with how it turned out. I also realized as I was putting things together that I had some mid-century kind of sort of pieces of furniture that would go well too. And so I moved those in place. Sometimes it just takes you getting an idea to look around your booth and to realize how many more pieces can also fit into that theme or that display that you're trying to create. A lot of the items I found too, I did need to get a display case for. I have never had a locking display case, and it was about time with a lot of the perfume bottles and smaller containers. Some of the smaller items though, I am going to add to my bag wall. Now, the bag wall has been a huge interest point for so many people here on the channel and for so many other people that follow me. I have not invented the idea of the bag wall, nor have I ever said I did. I know that thrift stores have bag walls. I have shopped them in videos here. I saw a whole bunch of antique dealers using the bag wall in the Maumee Antique Mall that I visited, and I got inspired to kind of try it myself. I also at the time had gotten a whole bunch of stuff from another estate, and there was just a lot of little random, really tiny things. So people wanted to know like all the details on bag walls, like how do I do it and how do I price it? So let me give you some information and kind of show you what I do. I just have a pegboard wall, just a small piece of pegboard. I have just hooks. You could use like the L hooks for pegboards for it. I use all different size little clear baggies that I get off of Amazon. My Amazon affiliate link, so you can see some of the baggies I use, will be down in the description box below. But to be honest, I've also used like snack bags and Ziploc bags. I also use some sort of scrapbook paper. I have a whole big book of scrapbook paper that I got thrifting, and I've had that for over 10 years now. I'll use some pieces of it and then staple it right on the top of those baggies and add my price tag to it. People want to know the prices. I mean, it just depends on the item. I have had things usually a couple dollars all the way up to, I think, $15 to $20 on the bag wall. I mean, it really just depends on what it is. Now that, although keep in mind, I never had a locking small display case. So probably if we're talking $20 or more, I'm probably going to put it in my locking display case just so, you know, nothing happens to it. And how do I organize them? I will take those little binder clips and I will actually clip it right onto the top of the scrapbook paper and leave one of the clips sticking up, and that's what I hang on the hook. And I put everything and anything in there. So tiny stuff that I don't know where else to put so it doesn't get lost. I put it on the bag wall, and things have sold. If you're going to try bag wall, use what you have, get creative. I think depending on your brand or your style, whatever you have in your booth should be special to you and your booth. It should support your brand. What you put on your bag wall might be totally different than me. If you sell mostly jewelry, maybe you have a jewelry bag wall or something like that. Really think about what are some things and give it a try. And I'm curious if you've done a bag wall. If you want to do a bag wall, comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking about putting in it. And if it's successful, I'd love to hear from you. I think part of this business of being an antique dealer is throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? You should be constantly trying new things and seeing if it works. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't work, well, at least you tried it. Now let's take a look at some more of the treasures that I discovered from those sales. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, this video is being taped in the summer, so I'm going to be doing videos every other weekend. Of course, I have a whole bunch of videos here, so if you're new to the channel, why don't you go check those out and watch anything that you haven't seen yet to help support my channel. Also, click the like button and the bell to stay in touch and to be notified the next time that I upload a new video. I also want to let you know that in October, I am going to be a guest speaker at Sonnet's Creative Retreat. And if you are interested, there are, at least at the time of this taping, tickets still available. I think there is a discount for purchasing your tickets early, but I would love to see you. For more information, I will drop it all down below and you can go check that out. But I'd love to see you in October. Thanks again. Now get out there to salvage, repurpose, and create.